the table. So a lot of people that watch this channel have kids and different things like that. So I want to make sure, or you got family members that might be going through something. So I mean, I just want to make sure I put this out there so we can get the help we need. And I know a lot of people like to talk about mental health. Mental health is kind of like a buzzword now, but this is like going to be like actual, what I mean, things that we can actually do. So we get to the comment section. Hey, what's going on, Stefan? It's been a while, man. What's going on, brother? Diverse Earth. This is my wife, y'all, in the building. Bria, what's going on, Bria? How you doing? How you doing, brother Eugene? Always showing love. And Just Rules, what's up? What's up? What's going on? What's going on here? And Mandrell, what's up? What's up? So I'm not gonna waste you guys' time, man. I'm gonna get it right into the topic. I mean, I'm gonna start some of these videos. So let's go.
Decades, there's been that Surgeon General's warning on packs of cigarettes. But this morning, for the first time, a new warning about something else: social media and what it means for kids' mental health. Why now for this advisory?
We're issuing this advisory to sound the alarm.
Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says there's not enough evidence to show social media platforms are safe enough for kids and teens.
We see rates of depression and anxiety and suicide and loneliness going up among young people. And I'm concerned that social media is an important driver of that youth mental health crisis. This is the defining public health issue of our time, youth mental health.
Research shows
So even with the Carlee situation, Carlissa, whatever her name is, Russell, situation, right? We always see these people in growing up, right? Like when I was younger, right? I'm from the South, from Alabama, from Birmingham, right? So we used to see the guys with the big rims. We used to see the ladies with their body all out, exposing everything, right? And this it started like that. Now it's switched over to social media, because when I was younger, when the internet and all that stuff came out, I mean, we had to dial up and all that type of stuff, right? So now it got to a point that they transitioned. They still doing that stuff, but they transitioned to getting attention that way, to put everything online, and they putting themselves in dangerous situations. Right now, our kids are growing up with this internet and TikTok and all these different things, and now they offering themselves, they doing certain things that's causing danger to themselves, right? So we have to make sure with our kids, we watch what they watching, right, and try to limit them, and keep your kids busy. You know what I mean? Like, we got to keep kids in sports more. We got to get them involved in chess and different things, right, like that. So these kids can not just have these social media platforms, right? Because he said, like, a lot of people are doing, harming themselves because of the social media. They're not getting the attention that they want, so they got to put these certain clothes on, or they got to buy these certain rims, or they gotta fake like they got kidnapped, just so they can get the attention that they need and smiling while they in jail, right? We're gonna get to that story later, but let's get back to the video.
95% of teens are on social media. More than a third say they're on constantly. And teens spend an average of 3.5 hours each day on these kinds of apps, something research shows can double the risk of experiencing symptoms of depression and anxiety.
The other day, my daughter came up to my wife and I and asked us if she could post a picture on social media.
How old is she?
My daughter is 5 years old. She's actually in preschool, but she's been hearing about this from her friends.
See, 5-year-old child try to post something on social media, just because they starting off with this stuff, right? And they hearing it from their friends, and they probably at daycare. She ain't even started school yet, So we have to realize what we are putting our kids in front of, because this is leading to them making mistakes in the long run, in the end, right? Or we got to cover for them and all this dumb stuff that a lot of these parents are doing now, right? And this made me think about when I was thinking about this topic, it made me think about my childhood and listen to other people talk about childhood and stuff. A lot of times we like to only talk about the bad things that our parents did, or focus on that stuff, saying, hey, I'm not going to do that, right? And then our kids grow up worse than what we were, because we only focusing on the bad things that our parents did, rather than focus on all the good things that our parents did and try to instill that into them. right? We only focus on, hey, I'm not going to do this. Say you got whooped by a belt. I'm not going to whoop him with a belt. I'm not going to do all this. And then now your kid grow up to be a doggone fool. The girl, Carlisa, she had her mom and her dad, you know what I mean, but she's still acting up, you know what I mean. So we have to get better with these type of conversations, and you know what I mean, and making sure we become balanced when we trying to raise our kids. But let's go.
All of the big platforms require users to be at least 13 years old to create accounts, but nearly 40% of kids ages 8 to 12 say they've used social media too. Tech expert Max Stossel sees it in the conversations he's had in the past 6 years with more than 100,000 students, parents, and teachers.
When I started doing this work, I was getting the question, is 16 too young to give my kid a smartphone? Now I'm getting the question, is like third grade too young to give my kid a smartphone?
Stossel recommends 14, but ultimately the right age may be different for different families. You are almost...
And that's the problem. It should be, your kid is too young. Honestly, I understand like the safety reasons and all that type of stuff that a lot of people they want to give their kid a phone because just in case they didn't get a hold to them or something happened and call the police and blah, 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 right? But it's too young. They're exposed to the world. Back in the day, we used to, if we wanted to watch like shows that we were supposed to watch, we used to have to download, you know what I mean, stuff to our computer and then watch it. They can just go on the site and watch it now. It's like everything's at their fingertips right now. You can block certain sites and stuff like that, and then they can do a incognito window, and they can get right into it. You know what I mean? You won't even much know that they watched it. You know, so we have to since a lot of things have been changing and stuff, we have to actually evolve too as well. So it's crazy.
Certain to get pushback from tech companies who say they're trying to protect kids. They have age limits in place.
I appreciate that the technology companies have taken some steps to try to keep kids safe, but it hasn't been nearly enough.
The Surgeon General thinks Congress can and should do more to regulate social media companies, the same way safety standards are in place for car seats, for example. And at home, the advisory recommends creating a family media plan together, implementing tech-free zones like at mealtimes, and partnering with other parents with similar philosophies for support.
What's at stake here is our kids and their future, plain and simple.
Here's the thing. The Surgeon General's advisory acknowledges there are...
And then he said something very important. He said it's for our children, right? So that's why I wanted to add this video, because I don't know if everybody probably haven't seen it, right? But you know, but it's important because our kids are our future, right? That's the saying, like a lot of people like to say, but it's the truth. So if you're not, and that's why I hate to see it, but a lot of these kids are growing up hating their parents, right? Because they feel like, oh, you didn't do this for me, you didn't give me this life, you didn't do this, you didn't give, and they spoil because the parents spoiled them because they didn't have everything that they wanted to have growing up. So they said, hey, well, let me spoil them, right? Now you get a spoiled brat, and now you basically, your legacy is basically gone, because a lot of people just having one or two kids. You know what I mean? So now you put all your faith in this one child that you raised as a spoiled brat. You know, so let me see. Oh, got a comment. Just rules. He said the accelerated rate of technology and social change leaves people disconnected and suffering from shattered stress and disorientation, future shock. Yeah, facts. And I was looking at the effects of loneliness too. So it was a video about loneliness, how it's affecting Americans and all that type of stuff. And you always hear people say, I'm strong and independent, or you say, hey, I don't need that woman on, I can do everything by myself type of deal. But honestly, man, it's a lot of people that's suffering out here, and it's because they want to do everything by themselves, right? Like imagine you having to do everything by yourself at your job. You running the whole company by yourself. That's basically what you're saying you want to do. You want to run the whole company by yourself. You don't want no workers. You don't want nobody to help you out. You know what I mean? And that's ridiculous. It's going to be hard for you to build that business up, just like it's hard for people to build strong families like that. So just Rule said they know exactly what they are been doing since the internet has been introduced in homes. The powers that been premeditated this modern problem. Exactly. And that's what I thought of too. That's a fact. Because I was like, I was thinking about this early. I was like, what's the only way that they can actually change and get into the households without being in the household? And the internet, right? They can do it. They're doing it at schools and the internet. So the internet is just going to make it even much broader and stronger, right? Because you can't really, even though they're getting indoctrinated at school, and then as soon as they come home, they're getting indoctrinated by the internet. So how much are you actually going to be able to teach your kid? Because a lot of people are at work or they busy doing other stuff, so they're not really putting a lot of energy into their kids, right? So that's why we're in the problem we're in now. Let me finish this video out.
Good things about teens being on social media, the ability to connect, to have friendships, to find support.
You can do that. You should be doing that in your neighborhood.
Reached out to the big social media platforms on this, waiting to hear back, but many of them have put some safety precautions in place. Meta, for example, prompts teens to take breaks and has a family center and guides to help people use the platform. It really is a debate for each family. If you're wondering, okay, what is the Surgeon General doing? He tells me that he and his wife plan to wait until their kids are out of middle school to get on those apps. Savannah.
It really is the issue of our time. We think about the Surgeon General and the warning about smoking in the 80s. And this, there's a thread here about a great public health issue that the Surgeon General is weighing in on that we all need to pay attention to. Hallie, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to...
But yeah, man. So that's the first video on that topic, right? So that's why I wanted to make sure that I address that first before I get into the Carlee situation and the Castanet situation. So we have a one big YouTuber streamer, Castanet, and the video what happened with him, and this all goes in line with the same thing that we was talking about, right? So we about to get into that video now.
Chief Magic, Chief of Department. Standing here with me is Chief of Transit. Earlier today at about 1:30 p.m., the NYPD became aware of a crowd forming in Union Square. It was quickly determined that an influencer was posting on social media about showing up to Union Square.
Crazy, and they call him an influencer too as well. So they know exactly what they're doing.
Where it was encouraging all of his followers to come to the park. There was some posts also about giving away some gaming systems. At approximately 3 p.m., the post went viral, and thousands of people began to arrive at Union Square. Soon the park and the surrounding streets were overrun with people. They were obstructing both vehicular and pedestrian traffic. The NYPD responded by calling a mobilization in response to the large crowd. As the crowd grew, so did our mobilization. The crowd was swarmed when the influencer finally arrived at the park. Individuals in the park began to commit acts of violence towards the police and the public. There was a construction site within the Union Square Park, and people broke into the park and they began to throw articles that belonged to the construction site: paint cans, bottles, rocks. We had people walking around with shovels.
And this all for attention, right? So he already knew. No, the only thing I do is say I'm giving something out for free, right? Like honestly, if you want to become big, only thing I do is start giving out free money or free things, and people started flocking to you, right? You see a lot of YouTubers do that. Mr. Beast, that's how he got very popular, right? He does a lot of charity work, and a lot of people flock to that stuff. So a lot of people, he say, I'm gonna give out a couple of PlayStations and stuff, but we honestly got to think this stuff through. I remember growing up in an area in a time period where when the J's came out, you had people waiting at the line, waiting in the mall and stuff like that, a long line, right? And people used to come out with them shoes. And guess what happened when those people came out with them shoes? They got robbed, right? Because people seen them like, hey, yeah, you got them J's. What size them J's is? That's what they used to say, my size, because they didn't want to tell them because they knew if they was their size, they would have got robbed, right? So imagine if you talking about you giving out PlayStation 5s and you got 1,000 people out there. I know you ain't got no 1,000 PlayStations, so you're gonna give out probably 5 of them, if that. How many people are actually gonna get attacked or get hurt because of that incident, right? I'm not saying that is your fault, right, that somebody attacked them, because they was being stupid. But we have to think of long-term game. A lot of times we only think of short-term and how it affects us right now, rather than thinking about the long-term consequences. Like I would never do no stuff like that. Or I would say, hey, I will pick out a few people and say, hey, all right, you've been watching us for a while now. Appreciate the love, support. We're gonna send you a gift because now I know that that person that supports me is safe. Rather than doing that type of stuff. Now you one of the largest people in the platform. You have one of the largest platforms. Now you telling all these people to come out here, and now you got that. Now you getting charges talking about you inciting a riot. You know, it's crazy. Just Rule says foreign outside influence has been our fall since the beginning. Yeah, man. It's and that's why we have to build these strong families, having these type of conversations, and understand that hey, your children are under attack. And I'm not just saying that just to say, oh, there's the boogeyman. No, it's like legit. Their minds are under attack. So you got to make sure you putting something in their brain and putting certain, taking a lot of these different mindsets out of their brain. And I'm not saying that you have to be perfect in everything you do, because you can put anything into your child, he might still walk away, right? But you got to make sure you're giving them that advice, because so when they hit that road, that stump in the road, they're gonna be like, oh dang, my dad put me on game, or my mom put me on game already. So let me make sure that I can fix these little issues that I got, right? So said a young brother Kai proves fame is a two-edged sword. Facts. It says fame can bring fortune, and two, fame can engulf controllable or unquenchable flames. Yeah, man. And this is well, we have to be smart, right? Because say if we get to a page that we have followers like him or something, like millions of followers, that we build this up, we have to understand, like, hey, we got to make sure we looking out for the best interest of the people that's watching us, right? Make sure we giving everybody the right information. Make sure we're not changing, or being weak, or you have to change how the way you talking, or the woman has to be the queen and all this BS that they talking about, and all this stuff to sell tickets. No, in order for your family to be successful, that man has to be a strong influence in that family structure. If he's not, that family is going to fail. And if I say anything other than that, y'all know they paid me. No, I'm joking. No, I would never say nothing else like that, because the truth has to be win, man. If the truth ain't winning, we screwed. You know what I mean? So they say, yeah, brother James, our children are seriously under attack. Yeah, man. And I'm just seeing it, like my son coming home to me talking about people in that alphabet community in his grade. You know what I'm saying? And his teacher, he said something to one, and it was like he went to the principal's office and all this type of stuff, and then now the principal, I think is one of the guys council, like, hey, I'm part of that community and blah 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 and all, and they're just like, yo, he's just like, it's not no big deal. It's like, you know what I'm saying, we're just talking and having a conversation. It's not like nothing like that, right? But hey, they under attack, man. I'm thinking about putting them back in homeschool. He said, hey, what's up, Hustler Muscle? What's up? What's going on, brother? Hey, Maurice, what's up, man? I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there, man. Lady Di, she couldn't make it today, so I said, it's been a few weeks since we had the episode, so I said I can't let my people down like this, man. Honestly, I miss talking to y'all. So, all right, let's get back to it.
Axes and other tools from the construction trade. And additionally, individuals were also lighting fireworks, and they were throwing them towards the police. They were throwing them towards each other. The influencer, we were able to eventually get him out of the park and remove him for safety reasons. Our officers exercised great restraint despite the aggression that they were met with and the acts of violence they were met with. Ultimately, myself and our leadership team, working in tandem with our department attorneys, did declare this gathering an unlawful assembly. The NYPD offered multiple, and I do mean multiple, opportunities for the crowd to leave. We tried to give them a means of egress for them to exit the park and exit the streets. After numerous warnings and after being assailed, hit with rocks and bottles and other debris, we started to make arrests to clear out the park. The total number of arrests is still being tallied at this point, and we're still...
They almost know how many people they arrested. That's crazy. And the crazy thing about this crap is a lot of times a lot of people like to do stuff when they got other people around them, right? So you got 100 people doing the same thing you do, and you think it's okay, rather than saying, "No, that's not right. Let me get up out of here." Like, say if I would have went, I would never go to no stuff like this. But say if I would have been out there, right? I would have been like, "All right, it's time to go. It's time. It's too many people. It's time for me to get up out of here." You know what I'm saying? Because every time it's a big crowd, oh man, I forgot that Bible verse. It's something about a crowd, whatever, right? It's a lot of foolishness. It's something like that, whatever. But yeah, man, it's you. Every time it's a crowd, there's always going to be a problem, and you don't want to be a part of that crowd, right? Honestly, I look at what people are doing. If somebody's doing something, I do the opposite thing. You know what I'm saying? Even with the shot, right? When the night COVID-19 shot came, I was like, oh, they forcing everybody. Oh, I'm not doing it. And I made sure I ain't do it either. You know what I'm saying? I ain't know all this anti-vaxxer and all this BS, whatever. But I was just like, no, it's this junk too shaky for me.
Doing evaluations for some of our members. We did have members that sustained some injuries out here. At this time, we successfully dispersed the park, but we still have crowds mulling around Manhattan, and we have officers following them, preventing them from destroying property, looting, and other things like that. And we'll continue to be out here, and we'll continue to disperse this crowd until they're all gone. We're using our drone technology to help us monitor the situation. Of course, our aviation unit is up there as well.
And the crazy thing is, man, in New York, they got so many cameras. They can actually take pictures of everybody that was out there and find them and arrest them. They got cameras everywhere in New York, right? So, and they trying to do that everywhere in this whole country. So if they wanted to find all these people, they can actually find them and put all the work into it, but they just probably don't want to do it.
Officers still being met with some resistance after numerous warnings, and we're still making some additional arrests. This mobilization is ongoing, and as I said before, we will be here until this crowd disperses. At this point, I'll take any questions.
We're going to start off with Josh.
I'm gonna get into this. Just Rule says Black Wall Street lacked the military facts. He said today our younger entrepreneurs lack through business management. Our young people should get back to with their more skilled and educated elders. Facts, man, and that's why and that's one of the biggest problems that we got, because we think that since we in America we at our risk, and it we always depending on somebody else to save us, basically, right? Just like if a woman in a situation where she called the police, when she should like call her brothers, right? That's next to her, like, hey, can you help me? You know what I mean? Just like how people used to police communities and stuff like that. How like the Black Panther Party and all different groups used to police their communities. You know, it should be something like that. You know, but in today's time, we depend too much on other people for our own safety, and we wasn't getting trained. It was the crazy thing about it. It was people that was actually fighting in the army coming back to Black Wall Street, and they would throw a parade for them. You know what I mean? They was coming back. They was go to war, come back, fight for the country, come back to Black Wall Street, and then they'll have a parade. Oh, welcome back, our soldiers, our heroes, blah blah blah. But they never thought to create their own. They never thought about it, you know. So I'm not saying that you have to create your own to go fight somebody, but you got to create your own to be protected, be safe. Now, if you have something to bring to the table. If you don't have no army, imagine this country didn't have no army. How many people would come in here and wreck us? Only reason why a lot of these countries ain't came and wrecked us because we have nukes, we have all these different weapon systems, and they ain't trying to have none of that. Let's just be honest. Right? So we as a people, we have to make sure we have strong families. We have to make sure we have a strong military, and we be able to protect ourselves. If we can't protect ourselves, we never going to be in a situation where we actually in leadership. And you definitely ain't going to be in a situation of rulership. He said, big ups to you, James, for keeping DCM Saturday Night Live alive this weekend, man. Father bless you and Lady Di and family always. Appreciate that, man. You know what I mean? We're gonna start coming back more. I've been busy, y'all. Honestly, man. I ain't gonna tell you everything I've been doing, but I've been very busy. So I'm thankful for my niece wasn't near Interesting to be down there. Yeah, facts. He said, "Is a what's up, Eugene?" He says, "Is a PlayStation 5 worth getting arrested or getting yourself involved in some violence or craziness?" Exactly. And they popping fireworks. What if that would have been like an actual weapon? Even though I know it's hard to have a weapon in New York, but some people have them. You know what I'm saying? The people that's not following the laws have them. You know what I mean? So imagine if they would have been not fireworks, that would have been actual weapon, and they would have been just popping out in the crowd. Now you would have been seeing people drop. I honestly, growing up, I used to go to the skating ring and stuff like that, and then people just be shooting weapons and stuff like that into crowds. They used to do that stuff all the time, being stupid, thinking they cool, just so they can get the attention. Oh, dang, bro, I seen you out there popping that thing yesterday, bro. You know, all that stupid stuff that, you know what I mean, that they used to be thinking like they're actually doing something. That's something stupid. Hey, what's going on, Travel One? What's going on? She said, people don't want to control their impulses. They send out messages with no foresight. Yeah, man. Exactly. And that's why I was talking about earlier. You have to make sure you have to think the long game, man. This is a long game. You can't just be sitting here thinking that thinking just, oh, right now, how does it affect me now? If you talking about you bringing PlayStation 5s out, you know, a lot of people, you're a big person. Probably a million people saw that tweet. Now they coming out there trying to get it. And then you in New York too. You in one of the largest, you in the largest state. Largest city, I should say. And you got all them boroughs and stuff like that. They probably went crazy down there.
Yeah, ABC7, thank you, Chief.
Josh.
We've heard reports of injured officers. A woman told me she saw a cop getting jumped and beaten. We have video.
A cop getting jumped and beaten.
You being attacked, your shirt shows. Can you talk about injuries to members of the service and to your own experience when you came out?
Absolutely, Josh. And I believe the woman's account is possibly right, even though I don't know exactly what she's speaking about. Our officers were attacked. We were in there. We were crushed. We were pushed. I had officers on the floor. As you see, I'm a little embarrassed because I'm very dirty right here, but I was in the middle of the crowd. I was hit with multiple objects.
See? And then now, say if they get to a point of people saying how police treat us and stuff like that, right? I almost think police brutality is on our top 10 list of our actual problems that we have in this country. But say when people always talk about that, they talk about this issue, right? And now you have people, say if somebody did you dirty, right? Say if somebody, family member, or somebody from a different race, you're gonna look at that other race like, hey, well, dang, you should expect this from these people, right? So that's when we got to hold our own people accountable, so we can make sure we can rebuild our image, because our image has been torn, right? Every time when you go overseas, right, they say the black woman is crazy, or the black man is always trying to steal something or trying to do something as illegal. Or they're trying to sell drugs, so let me pull them over, right? Even in the South, like I said, keep saying, and I grew up in Alabama, right, Birmingham. Every time the Mexicans used to be driving a car down south, police used to pull them over for no reason, just to check and see if they had a green card, because they was known to be there illegally. You know what I'm saying? So we have to rebuild our image up as a people, because now when they catch one, they like, oh, see. What I thought was right. So see, I just proved myself right. Even though it might be wrong, they just proved themselves right.
Well, I think I have a couple of injuries, but I'll figure that out once I have time to think about it.
But in terms of waiting off,
man has 4 stars on his collar. Out there getting dirty, getting injured.
Any officers treated for injuries that you know of?
We had 1 or 2 officers removed, and we had officers out here. I had officers who got hit and were hurt. But they stayed and helped us to control this.
I'm going to go Associated Press.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, sir.
I'm wondering if there is any kind of action that might be taken or could be taken against the influencer.
Absolutely. We're in contact with the influencer. I have our legal team here. I'm going to have a discussion with our Commissioner Caban in a little bit, and then we'll make a decision there.
Well, I'm wondering, though, if there's anything specific that you could be targeting with?
Well, we'll discuss with our legal department about inciting a riot and other charges.
We're going to go over to Matt. Chief, were any of the youths injured? How many of them? What was the extent of the injuries? And you see actually giving away PlayStations, or was that just a claim?
That I'm not sure in terms of the PlayStation. I personally observed young people walking out with their heads bleeding from their heads, bleeding from on their faces. I've seen I personally observed young people having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, asthma attacks. There was multiple, people were suffering out here. It was
yeah. So imagine how many people could have died. Hopefully, nobody didn't die. I didn't look that up, right? But imagine if somebody died. Now that life on your hand because you didn't have the foresight like Travel One was talking about to see all this type of stuff coming.
A lot of people. It was uncontrolled. It took us a while to get it under control, and a lot of young people got hurt.
Was that in confrontations with the police, or was that in the riot?
No, most of it was within the park. The young people in the park throwing objects at each other. They were dancing. They were doing a whole lot of things, but they were hurting each other as they were doing this.
Why were they stealing stuff from the construction site? What was the reason?
That I don't have an answer for.
Matt, we're going to move on. Mark Morales, CNN.
Mark.
What's the estimate as to how many people were here, and where is this YouTuber streaming now? What precinct is he in?
We do have him. I don't know exactly which precinct he's in. We have him. In terms of people, there was thousands of people out here. It wasn't hundreds of people. It was.
So he got arrested for them doing all that stuff, inciting a riot, right? So now, since he didn't think about the end game, just like a lot of people do in their relationships or in their life or in their job, they make bad decisions or having a child when they're supposed to have one. Now you have to pay the consequences of it. They probably gonna give them a slap on the wrist, right? But hopefully nobody lose their life out this situation. I don't know if I can say die or whatever, but yeah, man, it's crazy. But just Rule said the Black Space was a group of black men who formed their own defense squad, aka gang, out of despair. The spirit came upon them to defend themselves against the Italian gangsters in the Bronx in the 60s. Wow, I never heard of that one. Hey, that's good, man. Appreciate it spreading that knowledge. He also said, I truly believe nature allowed this to happen as a counter to the current migrant issue in New York City. Sorry to say, things are only getting worse. Raw footage shows they hate the popo. Yeah. Dang. Yeah, man. It's crazy. Yeah, New York is getting crazy, man.
Thousands and mostly young people out here.
All right, Dean Moses, AM New York. This isn't the first time something like this has happened after the giveaway. You guys are going to prevent this in the future?
We're going to definitely work on this. This is something we will have an after-action review of in terms of how we responded, how we're monitoring social media, and how we can prevent this in the future. We have encountered things like this before, but it never to this level of dangerousness where young people would not listen to our commands. They were fighting each other, they were hurting each other, and they were turning our attacks on us. We had to defend ourselves, and we had to make arrests.
Alfredo Costa, Telemundo. Approximately, Chief, how many people were arrested today?
Quite a few. I don't have an exact answer. We loaded up a city bus. The bus, we had young people attacking the bus, trying to pull people off the bus. We had to send resources there to protect the bus. It was a very dangerous situation.
Anthony DiLorenzo, Pix 11. Chief, the question is, how does something like this happen? Is there no monitoring at all or anything on your radar that this massive influencer is coming? I know that you're supposed to have a permit. I heard he doesn't have a permit, but was this at all on your radar, and how did you let it get bigger than the permit?
Well, this speaks to the power of social media and the danger of social media. We do monitor social media. When I go back later on this evening, I will have an after action to determine exactly what our steps were. We can't allow this to happen again in the future.
See, now they're going to have more rules and more control because of situations like this, right? So say if the country went haywire and it went against us and people trying to organize, right? They could have just easily did this and then got a whole bunch of people to go to war, right? Now they feel shut this stuff down to make sure this never will happen because they know they wasn't prepared, right? So just one guy got over 1,000 people to do what he wanted them to do, to come down there to get that PlayStation, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. So imagine if it was somebody that was trying to go to war, that was trying to do something like that. It's crazy.
Take one more question, Joe Marino, New York Post.
Chief, just to be clear, this wasn't pre-planned with the city. There was no coordination between this event producer and anyone in the department or the city. This was a totally spontaneous event that just sort of jumped off and grew and accelerated very quickly.
Yes, this was not pre-planned with the police department. This was something that was spontaneous. And as I just said in answering the last question, the power of social media, the danger of social media. listen, we're not against young people having a good time. We're not against young people gathering. But it can't be to this level where it's dangerous. A lot of people got hurt today.
Yep. All right, thank you everyone for your time and attention. Thank you, folks. Thank you. I got his name. Thank you, everyone. Yep.
But yeah, man. So, and now we're about to move to the main topic, guys. So I wanted to put those couple of videos before, because it all leads into the same similar things, which is attention. All right, so we fight. We have to try to humble ourselves, right? Because a lot of times, everybody has those different things going in their head. Like, hey, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to make sure I'm valued, and all that type of stuff. But you got to make sure you humble yourself when you having those thoughts, right? So, am I getting heard or seen for the right reasons? And if you're not, then that's when you get into a situation where it can become dangerous, right? Or you can do something to make yourself not be looked at as valued. All right, so you always got to make sure you're doing the right things, guys. So, but I'm gonna add this. Let's get to the Carlissa situation.
It is not clear just yet when there will be another news conference, but once we do get that, we'll bring it to you here on Live Now.
Appreciate that, Just Rules, man. You always showing love.
Student who went missing for 2 days after telling 911 she found a stranded toddler last week has been charged with 2 misdemeanors in connection with the hoax. That's according to the police. Russell's being charged with falsely reporting to law enforcement officers and falsely reporting an incident. Well, earlier today, I spoke with the Hoover, Alabama police chief. His name, Nick.
All right, and I already knew, right? Let me just say this right now. I already knew like she was BSing. Like we had did a quick little live, you know what I mean, like a couple of weeks ago about this situation, this topic, and this has been honestly been crazy. Just like the amount of attention, and even her picture smiling while she's in jail, right? So she don't care about all the people that she infected. She don't care about like all the lies that she told. And that's a kind of scary situation to be in. Imagine if that was your wife and she just lied to the whole world that she got kidnapped or something like that regard. And then you got to come back home to her. You're going to be like, dang, I wonder what else she'll lie about. You know what I mean? So imagine the men that date her, would they ever be able to trust her? Right? So you're going to probably date a whole bunch of different guys, and they're probably just going to play around with her because nobody can really trust her like that. You know what I mean? So we have to all our decisions that we make, we have to think of the end game. Every decision you make, because it's always going to be an end game with what decision you make. If you're not thinking about the end game, it's going to be a problem. So I know.
He answered a lot of my questions about where the investigation goes from here, what Carlee Russell has said in the interim since being charged, whether or not more charges are coming, and what he thought of the overall case, whether or not it took away resources from his department to seek out suspects in other crimes, including missing persons cases as well. Here's our conversation. You've been in law enforcement for a really long time. Have you seen a case where someone fakes their own disappearance that has gotten so much national attention in your long career?
I have not. Not only, obviously this thing started locally, and then it went nationally, and then it went internationally, and I'm not really sure why it garnered so much captivity, and possibly because of maybe the baby on the interstate. I really haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it was a child that gathered the attention, because it was like now it's a woman, number one, that's gone. Now it's a baby too as well. So now they like, oh my gosh, it's a kid and a woman. You know what I mean? So now that's the only thing this country cares about, the kids and women, honestly speaking. But yeah, man, that's why I got all that attention.
You know, I just wanted to ask as well if you're any closer, your team of investigators in figuring out the why in all of this. Are you any closer in figuring out, the motivations behind why Russell, might have led everyone on this story?
We've got, so many investigators that have been working, but we really, until we know factually the actual reason, and there's a couple of things that we'd love to know. Factually, we don't know where she was for the 49 hours of disappearance. And I don't know the end game. Don't know exactly what was the end game.
And that's the crazy thing. She's been able to keep all this information away, and like they said, the 48 hours she's been gone, where she went and everything, and she just basically got a slap on the wrist, like, hey, I'm gonna arrest you, and then all right, well, all right, it's time to get out. I said it was gonna happen too. Y'all watch the other live. I said, yeah, she probably get arrested, but they just gonna get a slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? Well, I might have said she probably won't get arrested, but she got a slap on her wrist. So, yeah, man, it's crazy.
And to me, the issue for her, when we talk about the end game, what happens if the police are close and actually get to her before she's able to make that second call and leave the interstate before we arrive? If we arrive prior to that, what happens then? Where's the baby? You know, so there's just so many questions that,
Good point.
that I'd love to get.
But I think she was already gone because they had I watched another video where they had like a little trail right there by where she parked, and they seen the Cheetos and everything. They seen like some not Cheetos but some crackers, some not graham crackers, whatever crackers she had, the little cheddar ones, and they had them left out there or whatever. It's like on a trail. So right there by that sign, if you go down there was a trail that led to somewhere else. So that's how she was able to sneak away.
Answered by her, and if she doesn't answer them, I can assure you that our investigators are still trying to figure it out. Hopefully we can figure it out ourselves.
So still at this point, we don't know where Carlee Russell was for that 49 hours. You don't have any indications of that?
No, again, it would be all speculation, and we just want to deal in facts.
Okay. You know, I wanted to ask as well, you know, in your gut, what were the kind of first indications where this was a missing persons investigation that then transitioned into an investigation into someone who made, you know, false reports to law enforcement? What was that hinge moment in the investigation for you and your investigators?
No, for me, I've been here a long time, doing police work for a long time, and the initial phone call that I got at the house to tell me exactly what happened that particular night on July the 13th, I was a little surprised, and they talked about that, you know, there had been a baby on the interstate. She was talking to 911, and she disconnected with 911 and called a relative that was talking, and then all of a sudden, they hear kind of a scream. Police get up there, and she's no longer there. My first question, of course, was how many other calls that we have that saw the baby, and they said none. So that kind of raised, you know, a little hair.
Same with me. I was like, nobody else called the police on that. I was like, yeah, that's a lie.
Back of my neck for a few seconds there. But I've learned after many years in law enforcement that until you have the facts, you know, we can have thoughts that, you know, maybe this isn't. But until you know factually that it's not, you work like it is. And of course we did. And of course we had the Secret Service was able to extract some of the data from her telephone. That certainly helped us. And then I think also the video on the interstate that following day, where we were able to determine that the time that she was talking to 911.
So they even had the Secret Service in there helping them. That's crazy.
That toddler would have had to walk 600 yards, and being a football fan, you know, we converted that to 6 football fields. And to think that a toddler could walk 6 football fields without stopping, without getting in the roadway. I've had kids, many people have had, and they find that pretty much, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so it seems like the reports of the sighting of this toddler on the interstate, a very busy interstate at night, it seems to me, and you're alluding to the fact that that was really the first red flag in all of this, and then that kind of precipitate, you know, looking into her search history on the internet once it did turn into a you know, potential hoax investigation?
Yes, sir. And again, even though we had seen, you know, I had that question about the baby, and of course some of our investigators did, but you know, when that story became not only national, international story, as you can well imagine, there were hundreds and hundreds of tips coming in. And, you know, under the circumstances that we don't know factually that this didn't happen, you know, we're running down hundreds and hundreds of tips. We're making phone calls all over the country, talking to people. And you have to, obviously, because you just never know that one tip, that one thing that may sound crazy to.
And people probably was calling in that line and stuff like that. Just Rule says, oh, I was furious watching her explore her grandparents on the video just to exalt her own self. I'm good with discerning our women. She looked disturbed at first sight to me. Sorry for saying. Oh, so with that video, so that's like a prank that they do, and they try to like prank their the people. So I seen a lot of different YouTubers and a lot of different people do that video. I think she was just making a prank with that. I don't think she actually well, I think she did post it, but it's kind of like a little prank video that a lot of people be doing. Like they'll say they'll have their mom or dad or uncle or something like that, and say that they was a prostitute or something like that, whatever. I think that's what she was actually doing. They said that that classic saying, "Old bad apples spoils the whole bunch," pertains to only our people. Dang, one mistake only of us makes, and we all look fake. Yeah, yeah, man. Honestly, I think like with like the school shooters and stuff like that. Like, I think that's one of the things that when white folks hear that crap, they were like, "Oh, damn, not again." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you right, just rules.
You get on the telephone, and it could be that little lead that we were looking for. So until we really saw, the interstate video, and then of course some of the Google searches that she had made from her place of business, and then from her.
Oh, and I want to say this too, and that should affect us, right? Because we all are one, right? That's how I look at it. We all are one community. We all brothers and sisters, and we're supposed to look out for one another. So I wanna make sure that my brother from another mother is doing the right thing, right? If you're a Pookie, I'm gonna call you out. I'm like, hey, you need to stop doing that type of crap, right? If you're a woman out here with your butt all out, you don't need to be wearing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Show your brain, show your excellence, show your femininity, and all these different things that you want to do. Say if you just want to be a hard worker, show your work. You know, so it's a lot of different things that you can show, but you don't have to show the badness of you, right? Because you all are image of us. If you messed up, we all messed up. If we allow you to do this, we all messed up. That's why it's not a lot of respect for our community, because we don't have respect for one another. I promise you, I'll be watching these videos of foreigners and people in the Middle East and all this type of stuff. If they catch you stealing, they whoop your butt. Everybody in that whole street, they're chasing you down just to get you. You know what I'm saying? So we used to be like that too back in the day. Shoot, my mom told me they used to leave the doors open. It wasn't nobody coming in the South. They used to leave the doors open, unlocked. Nobody went coming in there and robbing them. If somebody was on the street doing wrong, you got a whipping by 3-4 different people before you got to your parents and got a whipping. Now, today, you can't even much whip your own kid. You know what I'm saying? So now they calling the police on you. I mean, one of my oldest brother tried to call the police on my mom, and when the police came, she like, "Yeah, I'm about to go whoop his butt again." You know what I'm saying? And all that. And the police told her, "Thank you, man. We need more parents like you." You know what I'm saying? So and that was just good on that police officer, because he could have probably just tried to, arrest her and all this type of stuff that they try to do now, try to take the kid away. But my brother's doing good right now. You know what I'm saying? So he probably didn't like it at that time, but now that helped him out to become a better man. You know what I mean? I come from that household too. I'm a good dude. So yeah, man. Said, we are the apple of God's eye, bro. Facts. We are his people. He said, brothers keeper, sisters keeper, neighbors keeper. Exactly, man. Yeah, man. We always gotta be looking out for each other, man. Especially who we are. We're special people. So
telephone, that pretty much sealed the deal that the possibilities of this being a real are probably slim.
Yeah, your force expended so many resources in looking for Carlee Russell at the time over the course of that 49 hours. Did that take away from current outstanding missing persons reports there in your jurisdiction or your district that you couldn't focus on because you had to focus on finding Carlee Russell?
We were very fortunate that during those 49 hours that there really wasn't any significant case that we had to abort at that time. So again, we had some cases that we certainly could have been working on, and we didn't, but there wasn't anything that was so significant, anything like this.
I just wanted to get your thoughts as well. Once Carlee did return home to her parents there, we don't really know a lot of the information about what transpired or what was said. It's kind of all secondhand from her parents, and they didn't really want to go into it. They've been interviewed countless times. When your officers responded, though, once they got word she was safe, can you offer or divulge any information that was said, the questions they might have asked Carlee Russell, right at the get-go in that first interview? Because we have very little daylight into that kind of reunion.
Right. Well, the investigators were able to go to the hospital and meet with her for a very short period of time to talk to her. And she did divulge at that time that she had been kidnapped from the interstate, that a gentleman had taken her and taken over a fence, put her in a car, ended up taking her, put her in the back of an 18-wheeler. At one point, she was able to run.
All this long ass story for just to avoid to be a lie. And that's why the parents should chastise her in public, just like how they was crying for help, for people to help. They should have chastised her in public too. They should have did a interview, say, "Hey, I messed up. My daughter messed up. We failed her as parents, right? We should have did better. We're gonna talk to our daughter and get her the help that she needs, and we're gonna get her the discipline she needs." That's what the type of conversation should have been. Not no, hey, we're just gonna keep silent. Because now she's gonna continue to do it. That's why she's smiling in the doggone camera. Because she know her parents still there.
They grabbed her again, put her back in the 18-wheeler, and then eventually went to a house where they kept her. So again, that was the statement that she made to the investigators. Of course, under the circumstances that night of her just returning home, they didn't press too much. And then, of course, we thought we'd have an opportunity, hopefully soon thereafter, to interview. And as we well know, on horrific type cases, generally the victim wants to meet with the police because they want to get that perpetrator and put them where they belong, right? So it was a little unusual too that after that initial a few minutes of getting that account, that we were kind of stonewalled and get an opportunity to talk with her again.
Yeah. That's so true because, in your words, in your press conferences, you indicated that she was somewhat uncooperative after that first initial interview the night she returned. Is that what precipitated those charges, those 2 misdemeanors, do you think, in your view?
So we would have, we were going to charge under the circumstances. We charged exactly under Alabama law what we could charge.
Okay.
And they happened to be misdemeanors, and made the statement at that press conference that I didn't feel like that misdemeanor was really proper. In Alabama, you could go out and steal up to $500 worth of merchandise, shoplifting, and it's the same, the same charge. So I'm hoping that I've already had several calls from legislators.
That's crazy. They're gonna be changing this law. So yeah, y'all keep lying down there. Y'all won't.
After our conversation, that I think there should be some sort of enhancement that when you start talking about a kidnapping that has occurred to you, or maybe another violent type crime, that there be some sort of enhancement to make that punishable more than a year, which would be a felony.
Are you optimistic, or are you anticipating that enhancement will occur very, very soon to raise those charges to the felony level? Do you think that's going to happen?
I certainly hope so. I'm doing the best I can. I've talked to several legislators. I'm talking to the Speaker of the House in Alabama, and I think right now have a lot of support for that. So hopefully when the session starts, that'll be something that...
Imagine that was a felony at the beginning. You think she would have continued to do that? I don't think she would have did it. She would have got a felony because that would have been too much for her.
Something they're going to try to push.
Do you think her parents knew that this was all a hoax? Because... obviously in some interviews, they seemed so worried and so relieved that she was found safe. Do they think, or do you think rather, that they had any inkling that this might not have been above board?
Well, met with the parents, very, very nice people, talked with them, and of course, met with them prior to her getting home. And of course, they were, very upset, as any parent would be if their child's missing. But I don't think so. I think, parents try to believe what their kids tell them. And even with some of the information that we initially gave them, I thought that might, maybe spur something different, but they felt like what she had told them was accurate. And after that, we decided that it was probably time to come out and show the facts that we had, because my concern was we're a city of almost 100,000 people. And, I didn't want our populace here and surrounding communities to think that we had a potential kidnapper running loose, and the police.
Yep. And then they said kidnapper was white dude with orange hair. So he wanted to make sure that it wasn't none of his people. But yeah, I mean, it's I heard some rumors that allegedly that the parents did have some involvement into it. I don't know how true it is, but they actually are saying that the parents knew about the whole type of deal. Hopefully that's not the truth, but we'll see as more of the information come out.
Not doing anything about it.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see her mugshot when she was initially booked? She was very cooperative in that, and then a lot of people have kind of harped on the fact that she's smiling in this mugshot.
Exactly.
Did you see the mugshot? What do you make of that she's smiling?
I've seen a lot of mugshots over the years, and I've seen some that look mad, some look happy. So, I really didn't think much of it, to be honest.
This guy is it's like he had a hard life.
All right, Chief Justice, what happens next in all of this? I know you and your office are going to be following it so closely, but what happens next?
Yeah, well, again, there were misdemeanors, and
Just Ruth said her father looked confused, not worried. Yeah. Yeah, man. So he probably maybe when it first happened, he probably kind of knew, and he kind of just kind of kept quiet because he was probably scared. And that's us as man. We had to stand up, man. We can't allow this BS to go on. I can't just sit back and let BS just happen, right? Like this is not in my spirit to do that. And if it is in your spirit, just hey, go do some push-ups or something. Like it's ridiculous. Right, Just Rule said, I truly thought some good would come out of the rest during the pandemic. Seems like the Green Goblin just kicked in fast, turning meaning crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. He said, and he also said even brought that fruit from to her, man. Oh man, it's junk. I don't know, man, because even with the pandemic, right? It taught us a lot of things like, hey, we need each other, and you know what I mean, we need to focus on family, bring families back together and stuff. But that's what you thought it would have did, but it was splitting families up because more people was at home and it was arguing and all this type of stuff. But man, honestly, life is as hard as you make it. If you worrying about stupid stuff, your life is going to be terrible because that's the only thing you're worrying about. But if you say, hey, let me be productive, let me get this done, let me do this, I can be able to do this, I can achieve this, you can do a lot more with somebody rather than by yourself. So if you trying to do everything by yourself, good luck, right? But it's always better if you can do something with a partner, especially somebody you can trust. In order to build that trust, like me in the military, right? We had this thing we had to do. So after the deployment, right? After we went to Afghanistan, we came back, we all was good, we all was safe, right? So they made us do this this training technique, this training thing. They were saying, hey, everybody get into ABC orders, ABC order, right? And then everybody started moving around, right? Because military, they go off last name. So everybody, we already know each other last name, but then they was like, when we started moving, they're like, no, by first name. And then we rarely say people's first name. So we were just like, oh, snap, hold on, right? But in our group, enough people knew enough about each other that we was able to complete it and get it 100% right. It was like 50-some people. And we was able to get all the names right because this one group knew each other, and this one group we talked amongst each other. And it was about breaking bread. You know what I mean? It's about talking with each other. It's about getting to know each other, right? So this is what life is about: getting to know another person. Like you breathing. You got a home. You got a shower. You got shoes. Like imagine all these people in this world that don't got shoes. I was talking about that the other day too. It's people in foreign countries, man. You give them a pair of shoes, they go crazy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we got like 20, 30 pair of shoes in our closet like it ain't nothing. You give them some food, they like, oh my gosh, I ain't ate in a day or so. I never had no food like this. And we just look at it like it's crazy. And we wanted some doggone attention, so we do this type of stuff. It's ridiculous.
The misdemeanors were issued by our Hoover City Court. The Attorney General's office is going to do the prosecution. So right now, our investigators have been meeting with lawyers from the Attorney General's office, talking about their case files and everything that's been done, talking about, again, investigation still continues. So if we find anything else that potentially could be charges, we would certainly look at that also.
That's it.
Right now, we're not complete. Again, as you and I spoke earlier about the 49 hours of the disappearance, would love to know where she was. The attorney, when I read his statement, of course, they said that she was in Hoover and did this all herself. So again, we'll try to see what the facts bring us if we can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to speculate. If Carlee Russell does have severe mental health issues, which is why she might have gone on this, faked disappearance, and she has been charged with the misdemeanors. Does that lead you to have any sympathy for her, do you think?
Yeah, here's the deal. The folks of the investigation to begin with to get Carlee Russell home to her parents safe, and that happened. So that was our, obviously our main goal. Next goal was to try to figure out where she's been. We have not figured that out. Next focus was to charge her with crime. And, there are consequences for actions, and there needs to be consequences here. Again, the consequences that she faces, unfortunately, right now is all you can face in Alabama. So again, I'm happy where we are. I'm happy that she returned.
She lucky that's the only thing she get charged with. They would have If they would have gave, it would have been the max sentence of 10 years. They would have probably gave her 10 years.
Safe, and again, we'll let the criminal justice system play it out.
All right, Chief Nick Durzis there in Hoover, Alabama. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, sir.
All right, hope you found that informative there. Chief Durzis in Hoover, Alabama, saying still he and his investigators don't know where Carlee Russell was for those 49 hours. Russell's attorney says she was in Hoover, Alabama, but that's about it. You also heard there from Chief Durzis saying that he hopes that these charges, these misdemeanors filed against Russell, can be somewhat enhanced to felonies. Eventually. That's a task for the Alabama state legislature. So remember, each charge that she received carries a bond of $1,000 that's punishable by up to a year in jail and up to a $6,000 fine. Russell was later released from jail after posting bond. So we'll stay on top of this story here on Live Now from Fox.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. So hopefully, man, she gets the help she needs, and which is a butt whooping now, but no, man, like honestly, like we need people, we need each other, we need the right amount of attention, right? Because if not, we're gonna do certain things like this. This is why a lot of women or a lot of men, they do a lot of stupid stuff online because they're not getting the attention at home. They're not getting the attention because they think they don't need nobody. They trading in the attention from a person right there. They could be in their bedroom to a person, a whole bunch of people online. They can care less about you. So you, man, just make the right decision. Get with genuine people that want to be successful. I ain't gonna say they got to be perfect. I ain't say they got to be millionaires. They got to make $100,000. I ain't saying all that stupid stuff that a lot of people like to say. Because honestly, I think a lot of people say all that type of stuff because they want to be single, right? You have all this information out here of how many people making this amount of money, how many people doing this type of stuff, and you still have these certain standards. That means you just basically want to be single, right? That's like me talking about I want a woman that's 90 pounds, right? How many women in their 20s and 30s is 90 pounds? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be looking forever for that. You know, and so it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then that woman that's 90 pounds gotta want me. So it's crazy to have these dumb standards and not try to be with somebody so you can get the proper attention you need. A lot of this mental health stuff is because you're lonely, right? So a lot of people are lonely, even if they're in a relationship, because they don't really like to talk. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know what they're doing. So they just out here just doing whatever they want to do to get the attention that they want, right? So I'm glad you said that, James. Said Westerns are so vain and unappreciative of the little things in life. Yes, man. He said, yeah. He said, yes. Other foreign nations are more civilized, loving and caring. They're truly all the first world. Oh, that's a good point, man. Because they depend on each other. They depend on family. Like I even watch those shows that where they be in the jungle or different like terrains. They be the wife. They build their own house with the stuff around them. They're not thinking about the light bill. They're not thinking about none of that type of stuff, right? But a lot of people might say that's a bad life. They don't want that life, right? But they happy. You know what I mean? They're happy with the smaller things. And we over here offing ourselves because we couldn't pay a bill in time. And we tired of having debt. So we just like, hey, I don't want to live no more. And they just like, what's a credit card? What's that? I want some food. Let me go just get this right here. I'm going to go kill this animal right quick. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be appreciative of the things that we got. Even sometimes when I'm in my moods, right? Oh, I need to get this, I need to get this, I need to get this. I have to chill my own self out. I got to be like, hey, let me chill out. Let me I'm in a good situation. I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to tell yourself that. And if you were somebody that don't want you to appreciate you, all right, cool. You know what I mean? If they want to go, let them go. You know what I mean? So why stick around and not be appreciative, right? But make sure you have that conversation with them first. Just don't just leave just cause, right? Because that's what a lot of people leaving too quick. It says, all seriousness, I pray for the sick ones among us. Pray that they get off social media and deal with the real life. We need more power outages. He said we'll get along more with no electricity. It's so peaceful and focused. Yeah, man. I was watching a show about on Joe Rogan, and it was a guy on there, and he was talking how he was like hunting with this tribe in Africa or something like that, and he was like, hey man, a lot of y'all look like models, right? I need to take y'all to America so y'all can make a lot of money being models, right? Y'all look perfect and all this type of stuff. And they were just like, what? Why would I go to America? Ain't that the place that people, you know what I mean, off themselves? Why would I want to do that? And he was just like, dang. And he was like, man, over there with no, he didn't have his phone, no electricity, and none of that stuff. A lot of his depression started to fade away because he didn't have all that stuff to keep him busy, his mind focused. He was just like, hey, I'm ready for the next meal. He said, man, when those guys came with the food, that the wives cheered, they celebrated every day. They came home with some food. Their wives was happy. Their family was happy. But we might look at them and say, hey, well, dang, they ain't got AC, they ain't got this, I can't do that, blah, 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 right? But they happy. And most of the people here are depressed. So we just got to have a different perspective.